All right, so we are going to work on creating a frequency table and a histogram for female heights. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I know how many classes I should have. So I'm going to create Sturgis formula here. To tell me how many classes to use. So the first thing I'm going to do is the log, and I'm going to do it for the female, the number of heights. So we have 100 females, so log of 100 base 2, and then that's going to be equals 1 and then plus and then g and then 40, and that's going to tell me approximately how many classes to use. So the number of classes is going to be rounded 7.6, which is 8. So I'm going to use 8 classes, and I need to get rid of this closed screen, sorry, the number of classes there. And in order to find the classes, I'm going to have to find the range. So I'm going to do the minimum, and the minimum is equal to min, and then I'm going to do that for the heights, which are the females. Those are the ones. And so I'm going to go and just highlight all of those and then hit enter. And so the minimum of those is 59 and the maximum, and then I'm going to go equals and then maximum, and then we have the same numbers again. So highlight those, or I can type in A2 through A101 there. And again, those will tell me the maximum. So there's my minimum, there's my maximum. And then once I have that taken care of, then I could find the range. Now, before I go on, I'm going to show you also another way that we can find the minimum and the maximum using quartiles, because you need to know how to find quartiles as well. So if I do quartiles A2 through A101, same data set, right? And I'm going to do the 0 quartile for the minimum, and A, and then quartile, and then equals A quartile, and then A2 through A101, and then the 4th quartile is the maximum. Now the first quartile, second quartile, the median, third quartile, the third quartile, and that's all your different quartiles. So that's how you can use that quartile function when you need to give a 5-number summary. All right, so now we have the range of the data, which is equal to, and this is G45 minus G46, no, 44, sorry, and that's my range. And now my class width, and this of course will be unrounded, so parentheses, and this is going to be G46, and then divided by, and I actually don't need that parenthesis, but that's okay, I'll leave it there anyway. And then I'm going to do G42, the number of classes, and there we go. And it was just complaining because I forgot to put another parenthesis, so no big worries there. And then my class width, I'm going to round this. Remember, I always round it up. Now in my instruction set, I told you to round it to just the nearest tenth. And so we have, we would be rounding this to 2.4 if we round it to my nearest tenth, and so that would be my class width. So now I can go through and I can find my lower limit, and I can find my upper limits based upon this. Now if this is my class 1, my class 2, my class 3, so on and so forth, my lower limit is going to be equal to my minimum. So my minimum is the G and then 44, oops, equals G44, and then my next one is going to be, let's see, I'm in F, 52, and then it's going to be plus my class width, and so that would be the 2.4 there. and that would be, oops, I don't know what happened. I didn't see it. So let me erase this. So this would be my F equal to F 51. Oh, I just create a circular one plus the 2.4, and there we go. Now I can keep doing this by just doing Control C and then Control V, copy and paste these, and that's just, you see, taking a recursive formula, meaning that it's going to take the one above it and add 2.4, and then the one above it and add 2.4, and so on and so forth. So I could do that to create all my classes. Now let's just go ahead and get down here, and let's just say that this was the last one. I don't know how far. So let's say this is one beyond what I needed. Then what I want is to make the upper limits. Well, my upper limits, I've taken 1/10 of an inch, right? So my class width, I've rounded to the nearest 1/10 of an inch. So the distance between any upper and lower limit is going to be 1/10 of an inch. So what I'll have here is F and 52, not 42, 52, and then minus 0.1. And then I can keep doing that because it's every one below it minus the 0.1, right? So Control C here, and I can get all my upper limits, voila, just like that. But you see, I have to have the next lower limit beyond that. And so that's how I can do my upper limits. Now doing our counts, the frequency, right? The frequency on the counts is I'm going to do the count ifs. So I'm going to do count if, and I'm going to do A2 through A101, and I'm going to do the criteria this time, quotes, and then less than, and then I'm a less than, and I'm going to do my second class, which is 61.4, and then I enter. Now the next one is a little bit trickier. This is count if, and this one is A2 through A101, and this is less than, and then it's the next one, 63.8, right? But the problem is that this will count the ones here too, so I have to subtract out, and then the count if A2 through A101, and then less than, and then I have to do the everything that's above that, 61.4, and so that I only get the difference between these two and I don't get everything. Now another way to do that, let's do it with the next one, is count if A 2 through A101 is, and then less than my next lower limit, which is 62 or 66.2, and I just hit enter there. Now here, this one has included everything above that, right? So I can say this one is equal to H 53, and then I could do minus, and then I could do, let's see, well I can't now because it's, that one isn't there. Let me do one more. So let's do Control C here and Control V there. So what this one is A101 through A102, and then here, and then I have to go in here and change this to be the next lower limit, 68.6. There we go. All right, so now in this one here, to get its actual value, I could just do here that this is G or H54 minus H53, and that would give me the difference here, just like I did here by manually typing in the two values. So a couple of different ways. You can just do it manually by typing in two COUNTIF formulas and taking the difference between those, or you could just do all the COUNTIFs and then subtract the ones before it. And that was exactly how I did the male ones, because I've already completed the male up here. And in fact, I am just going to go up and I'm going to use the males in order to show you how to do the histogram. So again, what I'm saying here is when I went through and did these frequencies, you see these are count if, and I used less than the next lower one, 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 and then this one, the very last one, I used greater than the previous upper limit there in order to find that one. That's the easiest. That way I don't have to do anything with the first and the last. It's just the middle ones in here. And then I actually got my frequencies, you see, by subtracting what I got here minus this one here, and then the next one here, what I got here minus this one up here, because that one of course included that one. So I'm just taking the differences, and then you notice I summed these up just to check. Yep, there it is. It's 76, because remember there are 76 males in this data set. Alright, now let's go ahead and create a histogram. So I'm going to use the male data set. This is females down here in this area. This is the males. I've already completed this. I've also found the midpoints. The midpoints, by the way, are found by just saying, okay, here's my upper limit, here's my lower limit, add those together, divide it by 2. So let me click on this and show you the formula. See my upper limit right here, right, 61 H 27, and then my G27 added together, divided by 2. And then here I can continue on with the same vein by copying and pasting, or I can simply add the 2.5, which was what I used as my class width here. Alright, now that histogram, I'm going to highlight those, go to charts, go to column, clustered column, just like that. I'm going to take this and I'm going to get rid of the gaps here by simply clicking on this and going to options and then moving this to 0, and boom. Now I also don't like having all of this color in here, so another thing that I can do, another thing I can do is I can change the fill on those, and I like it to have no fill. So I go no fill, and now we have no fill. Now these lines get in the way, so I can also go to my chart layout, go to grid lines, my horizontal grid lines. I don't want them anymore, and so, oops, there we go. And something that happened here is I forgot to make my lines just like that. They need to be solid when I make the fill go away. And now I have a really nice display. This series here, boom, get rid of it. Another nice little treatment here is when I go with my formats. Oops, no, it's not my chart layouts. One of the things that I can put in here is data labels, and I can put them on the outside end, and that will give you your counts for each of your bars, which is quite convenient in terms of having a histogram. And that is a really quick introduction. Now I of course could put in titles and chart titles and all of that, which is definitely what I want you to do. So very quick nutshell there of how to do quartiles, how to create a frequency table, how to find the midpoints, and how to quickly create a histogram. Now the only thing that we don't have is on these labels down here. I really don't want those to have those labels. I'd really like them to have them either the midpoints or the boundaries labeled on here, but there's not an easy quick way to do that, so I've left those instructions out and left out the fact that you need to have that done, but you should be aware of that. Alright, and that's how you create a histogram.